right, everybody. We got another very special guest for you all, a returning special guest. It's actually been a while, Mike, since we had this special guest. I've
Yeah,
said
a little
special
bit.
like 80 times so far.
Yep.
Everybody, welcome to the show, David A. Byrne. Welcome,
Hey,
David.
David.
Thank you. Yeah, and I am that special.
You are.
Yeah.
I need many specials in
Special
front of me.
times five. It's been
Yeah,
we looked it up. It's been almost 4 years since
I know.
the last visit, and it's always funny because I think about like where we were in our lives because that was like changed houses and apartments and things come and go, and but we're still here, Chris.
Yeah, we were also still in the throes of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, that's all in the past. It seems like a blur those last 4 years, but I'm glad we got back together. And Steak is still going on.
Yes, it
It's
is.
still alive and well 4 years later, so that's awesome. We're going to talk about that today. Uh, you know, I think we'll keep that as the focus at the end, but I mean, we haven't caught up in a while, David, so I don't know if you want to just talk about some of the other projects you've had going on, get people caught up. Like we could talk about, the couch. We want to talk about Skin Deep,
Sure.
canceled. If you want to we could just start with those.
Maybe even just what's different now. Back then, you were working
Yeah.
for Scout, and I looked at your little about page here, and you've got about 20 different jobs that you're doing. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
actually, it's
what's been
funny
going
because
on?
the other day, Charlie Stickney messaged me. He said, "You saw Andy got the Boom Editor in Chief job. Why didn't you put your name in for that? Didn't you want a fourth or fifth company to be the publisher for?" And
Yeah.
I was like, "No, I'm happy for Andy, but that I've got enough. Thank you."
You didn't have the free time. Come on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, since we last talked, I have left Scout, but I've also become the publisher for Amp Comics. We
Oh.
launched, I guess officially we launched at last San Diego Comic Con. That's when we really announced. And I'm also the chief creative officer for Metal Ninja Studios, which is it's a production studio for comics with there's lettering, graphic design, but also we do editorial and we help people take their concept all the way to a comic. People who may not know how to make a comic at all. So
Mhm.
that's actually really rewarding for me because I'm the creative force behind that. So we work with them, and I do the editorial. I do a lot of the writing or adapting for them, and then to get their reaction when they actually see something that was their idea, now all of a sudden they can actually physically hold it in their hand, it's pretty wild. Because I remember what it was like the first time I did that.
Yeah.
Getting to see that over and over is actually it's very rewarding.
That's
And
awesome.
then I've just been grinding away at my own stuff. As you mentioned, canceled. We did Skin Deep, which was actually in the hospice universe with
Hmm.
Travis Gibb a few years ago, where we had it's like a silver coin concept where we had one thread that went through six different individually created stories, and we were all ran Kickstarters around the same time. And then it was actually just released as a collected edition. I think he's fulfilling right now.
Unless I saw he's filling now.
Yep. So I think that's about it.
I know.
And we're live with the newest Stake issue 7 of the main series after we did an entire 3-issue mini series starring one of the characters and also had a hardcover of that one. So
And
How was the hospice? Like, whatever you guys were doing there, how'd that come together? Like, were you guys happy with what happened? How it came about? Is there going to be more?
yeah, I think you'll see more and hopefully not too distant future. The idea is to gather creators together. It's a collaboration, but you're still on your own, which is, I mean, it's kind of an interesting way to do it because we were all responsible for our own Kickstarters, but we're also promoting each other. We're doing a through line where you could read any story separately, but it's cool if you read them all. If you could buy 3 or you could buy all 6. You could buy 1 or none. I mean, it's just an interesting way to do it, and especially with the way crowdfunding has evolved over the last couple of years, having that support of the other creators going on, your collaborators at the same time is beneficial because you have people to lean on. You're hoping that helps generate buzz for people who might not have backed my campaign. They're Travis's backers. Well, they might come take a look at me, my backers might go take a look at Frank Martin, who was one of the people. So it was a very interesting experience. We all funded, which is the biggest thing, and now we have the collected edition with a couple hardcovers, really cool covers, and it also gives us all something unique and different to put on our tables at shows and things like that.
Yeah, that's a cool way to kind of get people into other shared universes, stuff that you're working on, or
Mm-hmm.
other projects, right? Um, and a little bit about you talked about the company where you're helping other creators start their projects. What was the name of it again?
Metal Ninja Studios.
Metal Ninja
Mm-hmm.
Studios. And I know it's something you did because I saw it on your website, and we talked a little bit about before we started recording here. You do something that I think is really cool, giving away first issues for free on your website,
Yes.
digitally, which gives people a taste, and then get them hooked on the whole
Mm-hmm.
story if you have comics. And that's kind of something you've talked to other creators about too, right? Like, it's comics are an interesting medium like that, where you don't want to give it away for free, but giving it away for free can get
Right.
more business, kind of thing. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Or
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
it's fairly common when you have a product they're called lead magnets.
Hmm.
You get, if you have a larger overall brand, or for comics specifically, if you have a volume out that was single issues, it's very easy to give away issue 1 of 6 for free
Right.
as a digital. I mean, you don't want to go giving out the physical copies because every one of those costs you money. But
Yeah.
if a digital PDF costs you nothing to give away.
Hmm.
So if a lot of people will take a free number one, they may not like it, but at least, if they give it a shot and they like you, they come back, and that's a great way to build an audience, and it literally costs you nothing. That's
Right.
the big thing. I mean, a lot of us are on a shoestring budget as creators. Especially for writers, we're paying for art, we've got all these expenses. If you've got a free marketing tool like that, go for it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Someone downloads your PDF and you never hear from them again.
Yeah. Right. Right. And you probably wouldn't have had them join in a Kickstarter anyways, right? So it's like, did you really
Exactly.
lose anything overall? Um, the I think the little segue there is that you do have Stake #1 available on your website right now,
Yes.
which
Yep.
is a great taste for everybody to get into the Kickstarter that's going on right now.
Yep. Yeah,
Where
and
you're
we have a
doing
link
all
right on the Kickstarter as well to
yep,
that free number one issue.
yeah, which is awesome. So it's all 7 issues for this Kickstarter, right?
Correct, because we
Yeah.
have a brand new issue, but we also, for people who have never read the series, like having that series originally come out through Scout, it was never on Kickstarter before.
Hmm.
They're in different ecosystems. So over the years, I've had Stake Presents Jessamy, which is a spinoff that's only been on Kickstarter, and we've had a lot of people buy the trade paperback from Stake that way. But some of the backers have never even gone into the regular universe for Stake. So now with this campaign, you can get everything, and we're actually going to, for people who like single issues, you can get the single issues from Scout, or we're going to be, with each of the campaigns for the next 6 issues, we'll be reissuing the original ones with our new trade dress and a new cover. So with issue 7, you can get a new cover for number 1. With issue 8, you'll be able to get a new cover for number 2, all the way up,
Oh, cool.
with correlating between 6 and 12. So they'll all have our new branding, and
Yeah.
you'll be able to line them all up next to each other and have,
Nice.
1 through 12 in singles with the same branding.
Yeah. Yeah, the collector in me would prefer that.
There you go. Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this one has a different spine or logo, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, I totally get that.
And then what I
Yeah.
like too is if you go and download that #1, you love it because it's great, right, Dave?
Mhm.
Like it's the best book ever.
Yeah.
And then you go to the campaign, $20, you get the whole series digitally, but
Right.
$20 for 2 volumes and the new issue, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we also, that bundle has the spinoff we did, which
Mhm.
was another 3 issues plus another 12-issue story, or I mean 12-page story.
Mhm.
So I mean, you're getting close to 250 pages for $20.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Plus when you
Yeah.
do that, you also get the new issue. So
Mhm.
yep, we're
And
talking 10 full issues plus a 12-page supplement.
And what I remember last time we talked, it was around the launch of Stake. I don't
Mhm.
remember if issue one had come out yet or not, but you were just entering this new world and doing it through Scout. And now that you've left Scout and the publishing has left that as well, what was your biggest worry jumping into Kickstarter? Like, especially jumping to number 7. Did you have a thought in your head of going back to number 1, or what was the anxieties around this when you were thinking about it?
I actually did debate how to do it, whether to call it, a new volume with a subtitle. You know, do we do each arc as a mini series? In reality, the first story is going to be 24 or 25 pages. And it's the way I've got it laid out, it's 6 issues at a time. The last one may be 7, or it may be a follow-up for 20 number 25, big event, big whatever's going to be next
Mhm.
type issue. To me, we don't have enough series that just continue on. And I know, yes, if you're going to comic shops, a number 1 sells better. But they've also, when I talk to retailers, you hear we want series that keep going.
Yeah,
They
right.
they want that release where something is killing the children has what, 30, 40 issues now, maybe
Right.
more. I don't
Hmm.
I'm keeping up, but they actually like that because Saga, they want these series that show up and you have 1, 2, 3 all the way through whatever.
Hmm.
So that's where I ultimately landed. Was I want the series to just go all the way through its numbering. We can do miniseries. It's a vampire book, so I can do 1,000 miniseries set in different times without the main character.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that a roundabout way of answering your question? Because if I had gone to miniseries, they would have had legacy numbering anyway.
Yeah, right.
But I like it better with actually just continuing. And with Kickstarter, I think you actually do have an audience that's okay with that. They, especially when you say, all right, you can get issues 1 through 7 in this campaign. You can get issues 1 through 9 because they know right away that, okay, I'm coming in at issue 9, but I've got everything available to me to order right now.
Well, it's funny you saying that as everybody's listening to this. The 120th Amazing Spider-Man number 1 is going to be on shelves this week.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
But I also, as you were explaining your whole reprinting the original 6 issues with the new trade dress, I thought that's kind of genius because somebody could go and get the digital one to catch up through the story, and then as they're getting 7, 8, 9, so on, also get their collection in order, assuming they're a physical person.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of a genius way to do it without throwing it all on at one time, because I think that's one of the things for me. If I get into a Kickstarter book late, I usually just end up trade weighting it
Right.
because just especially how expensive Kickstarter books can be, pumping all this money into one book when you're on issue 4 or 5, and you're like, oh, I just wait like a year and a trade will be out,
Mhm.
hopefully. So I think that's actually a genius way of doing
And
it.
Yeah, and I always try with the regular issue that we're putting on Kickstarter. I haven't changed my price in 5 years because this is the 5-year anniversary of the very first Stake campaign.
nice.
I do 15 plus shipping. So basically, I want that entry level to be cost effective for everybody,
Mhm.
and obviously as shipping and printing have gone up over the years, my margins have gone down on those.
Right.
But if it's the difference between, an extra 20 backers because they weren't going to pay $20 plus shipping for, the basic version, I'm
Yep.
willing to do that.
Yeah.
I want readers. I want people who to come in, and I don't want there to be barriers for them to actually join
Right.
us, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, it's the constant back and forth that we're always talking about here. It's that you guys have the everything's going up in price and it's more expensive, blah
Mhm.
blah blah. It's also happening to me over here, so I have less money to spend on your comic.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's a tough balance there because I had to make an active decision this year to spend less money on Kickstarter, and that's just economic reality. So
I mean, for everyone right now, especially
yeah.
creators, that's a concern because we're providing a luxury item.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So as
Right.
wallets tighten, so do
Yeah.
the numbers of backers we have. I mean, even I started seeing it probably a year and a half ago when I had that specifically we talked about before the hospice campaign. I had a handful of backers. They're like, I only backed for this lower tier. I really wish I could do more, but right now things are,
Right.
money's a little tight. We're here for you, but we can't do what we used to do, which is
Yep.
buy, back the metal cover. Instead, I just got the regular paper cover.
Mhm.
But again, it's all about creating a community and
Mhm.
our own audience. And I don't care what level you back at, as long as you come and join us and, tell me what you think of the book. If you saw something you don't like, tell me, because there's a very good chance if I'm getting feedback that people don't like things, you're going to see it the way you like it coming, in the future. Because originally Steak, one of the big things about the series is that, she does a lot of her stuff while she's on social media. And I just kind of, that was a throwaway thing I did in the first issue. And I got so much feedback that people loved that. It became an integral part of the series. So, I mean, I do listen to my audience. So if you ever wondered if creators are listening, we are. We may not publicly respond to some things, but we're listening.
And I mean, all this talk of how to handle the Kickstarter and bring stake to Kickstarter. As we talk right now, I think you're over 150% of your goal. You're at 8,400 out of 5,000 with over 200 backers. So that's a pretty good feat in itself. Obviously, you're going to be continuing the series. That even though we're at the goal, above the goal, you want
Right,
those funds to continue the series. And I don't think we've touched on it yet, because I know in the past we've talked about Stake as like a different approach to a vampire story. So I mean, just for the first time listeners and viewers out there, what is Stake besides the vampire thing? It's your telling of a vampire story, right? So what's different here?
Yeah, I guess we kind of buried the lead for what we're
Yeah,
actually talking about, right?
yeah,
We
it's all
just
good.
kind of assumed
Yeah,
everybody
everybody's
knew
like,
we were
what
talking
is it?
about.
Yeah.
So, Stake is a modern vampire story. It's about a teenage girl who sees her best friend get his heart ripped out on basically every media outlet on Earth by a vampire. It's they're announcing their presence. And we fast forward to 3 years later, she's a member of the Vampire Bounty Hunting Union, where her goal in life is to track down those vampires who killed her friend. But she's also, for accountability, teamed with a vampire, and her day job is to register unregistered vampires, and she does all of it while live on social media, which often gets her in trouble. So
Yeah.
there's, with her being young, there's also a coming of age portion. You think about, she's 16 when this happens, so she missed an important part of growing up too. So she's kind of immature and does stupid stuff all the time. So there's a bit of comedy, there's a bit of, we have horror in there because it's vampires. But again, like I said, there's also the coming of age aspect.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. And the part about her being on social media, like you said, like listening to your creators and things like that, that's certainly something that's relevant to today if that was going on.
There's a scene where she's sourcing her inner circle of followers for ideas on how to do something.
Yeah, right.
Like she has a private group chat with a handful of people who follow her closely, and they're all talking about, they give her ideas, and she actually uses one of them to go do something.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine if vampires were real today and we had to hunt them or something, that there would definitely be some influencer vampire hunters out there. As much as I don't want to admit it.
100%.
This vampire hunting brought to you by Prime Energy Drink or something.
Now you just gave me an idea. Maybe she she looks for some sponsorships.
There you go.
I'll call up Monster, because if I open a page of this and I see her drinking a Monster at one point, I'm just gonna lose it.
Hell yeah.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
It'll be her fictional energy drink of choice.
I want to you gotta come up with a vampire version of Monster. We gotta think of that.
Yeah.
We'll spitball it later.
Yeah.
I want to bring up, because I've seen this in a couple of Kickstarter books, and I'm glad that you guys have all collectively come together to realize that corner boxes need to come back to comics. And I see you got one on yours. I can't really tell what it's saying other than it's got a nice crow on there. Is that KRP?
It is. So I actually had Win Pictures was the company I published my own stuff under for about a decade, but because I'm a crazy person, I bought a printing press about 2.5 years ago, and as I learned to use it, I started printing for other people, and I wanted to split those companies apart so I wasn't publishing and printing for other people under the same label. So I'm killing Win Pictures. It's now Win Press is solely for printing, and King Raven Publishing is my personal publishing arm, which King is the what David means, and Raven is actually what my last name Byrne means. So to me, it was logical because it also gives you it's strong and it gives you a great image, as you saw. I know it looks kind of like a crow, but it's a raven.
Hmm.
Come on, Chris,
And
get your birds right.
Oh, it says it right here at the bottom too. If I would have just scrolled down further and not be
Yeah.
an idiot, there it is.
It's okay.
no, you're fine. I know that's one thing I always fear on Kickstarters is you put all this text and people's their eyes start to glass over. So we try to break it up with images as much as possible. So
Well, if I can be honest with you, you got a picture of Blake Morgan here, and at that point, I just started scrolling back up. That's what happened.
Poor Blake. He doesn't deserve that.
that's low hanging fruit, Chris.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
He knows I love him.
Uh,
I have to work with Blake every day, so
yeah, we'll give him the love. We certainly enjoy his work, and I mean, talking about the stuff that you have on the page. I mean, you have preview pages, like you said. You can download the first issue, the two first issues that you have available. But you did talk about the metal covers, right? I mean, so let's talk about some of the rewards you have here, the pledges. What do you got going on at these higher tiers? You have some variant covers and metal covers or foil covers.
yeah, I think we have 5 covers total, but we
Hmm.
we actually did an early bird where we gave away the line art cover for uh,
Oh,
someone I'm working with named Kiss Kiss. That's their one of their first published covers, and we're getting that one colored, so that one will be available here in the next couple days with colors. But we always do a traditional trade dress, a full art or virgin cover, and then just because I'm also a collector. I've been a collector since I was 6 years old. Going on I'm 40 plus years. No, not almost. Oh, I'm 43, so not quite, but well over
okay.
30 years I've been collecting. But I like the collecting stuff or the
Hmm.
collectibles, so I do the variants with the gimmicks. So we've got the foil, we have metal. One of the newer ones I've done, and you probably see it on there. It's acrylic covers,
Hmm. I do see
which
that. Yeah.
they're very expensive, but they're very cool. And we typically do them as one-offs. So if you order one, I will literally let you go back through our whole library, and I'll basically do a one-off cover for you of a particular book that we've done at some point in the series. Now, they actually a piece of clear acrylic. They do a printing of the full image. They put it on the back so it's clear, and then on the top layer, they print in layers where we've isolated particular images.
Oh, that's really cool.
So if it's a picture of, a character with a sword in the
Hmm.
foreground, you literally on your front image, you only have that character. It almost looks three-dimensional, and you have the
Oh, cool.
background dropped below in the on the back. So it they look really cool. We did it for the series Canceled,
Hmm.
which that one is about a killer clown, but he's digital. So he's influencing people through the airwaves, and the actual image it's like an iPad, a laptop, iPhone, a different type of cell phone. They're all stacked on top of each other, and it's the same character's face on all of them.
Yeah.
But they were able to do different layers for the different devices. So if you run your fingers over it, each one of those devices is on a separate layer, and it's like
Oh,
they're
wow.
they're coming out at you. It's like having a 3D cover.
That's really cool. That's a really cool idea.
Oh, 3D covers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
without the
was,
glasses.
yeah. Yeah.
I remember when DC did that. Those are good
Oh yeah.
times.
Yeah. Good times. That's a really cool idea. Have you had a is it so this is your first time doing the acrylic for
This is the
steak?
the third campaign we've had them. I've had people order them on each campaign.
Okay, so that's good.
They don't go crazy, which is good because we want to keep them kind of
Hmm.
limited.
Yeah.
And the ones that there is one caveat: if we've already used the cover as an acrylic for someone else, I won't let them use it again to keep that collectability for the previous person.
Mhm.
So those acrylics are one and done?
Pretty much, yeah. But you can go back in
Cool.
time. Like, for an example, no one has done the Peach Momoko cover we did 5 years ago. If somebody wanted to, I would let them do that one.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I'm looking at these other higher tiers. You have some interesting ones like stake to order. Get your very own stake cover exclusive, so someone can provide the art for an exclusive cover, and then you can work with Francesca to get a customized art, which is kind of interesting. And it says it comes with 10 prints. Is that something you would also print?
Yes,
To have
in my
available?
office.
Yeah, and, to have them all as part of the collection.
Yeah, and if somebody was like, "Oh, well, I want to have 25 for my family," then we would just deal offline from the Kickstarter and add them for whatever price makes sense to do additional covers. But basically, we have it where you can provide the art. So if you've got, even if, hey, my 10-year-old draws, I want them to draw a cover and then make it an official comic cover. Great. We literally put it with steak dressing. We throw it on the cover. We print it up, and they get their 10 copies or however many more they want.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
Like, let's get our exclusive cover with us, back to back.
Yeah, like Charlie's Angels.
You could totally do that. The Burrito Boys did one where they all had their heads severed years ago.
Oh man, that's amazing. I do want to talk about how you're showing off the CGC grade 10 that you have. You're like, even CGC thinks. Yeah, you don't see 10s very often
on paper books.
On paper
that
books.
was a paper comic.
Yeah, that's crazy. So did you gently carry it all the way to CGC out of it? Did you wrap it in a safe?
That was a friend of mine. That was a gift to him. The book itself.
Yep.
He actually took it from me to the artist at MegaCon. She handled it, signed it. He brought it back to me. I signed it. Then I walked it over to CGC. So it wasn't shipped anywhere, but it was, it was handled by several people. I was shocked because I was just curious because I saw that the tracking notification that there was a package coming already, and it was very fast. And I went on just to, what's the grade? Yeah. And I saw a 10, and I was checking on my phone. I thought I was I had clicked the wrong thing.
Right.
the wrong thing. And then I pulled it up, and it actually had they have images on your submissions now. So I pulled it up and I sent it to him, and he's like, "No way!" And I sent it to the artist Acacia, and she's like, "Can I share this?" I was like, "Absolutely, please share it."
That's awesome. That's really cool. I
didn't even know they gave away 10s. I thought 9.9 was
I don't think I've ever seen one.
I have only gotten 10s on medals or covers that had the original stake we did, or for the spinoff we did archival, which they were these faux leatherette covers, and I got a couple of 10s on those because it's very rigid.
Right, you can't mess
material.
it up really. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense.
See,
papers. Yeah.
That one right behind me came out of the plastic at a con, signed by the whole team, and then I literally handed it to CGC, and it was 9.8.
How did this happen?
Yeah. I literally thought 9.8, 9.9 was the highest they ever went. That's pretty cool. They actually do 10s though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then we kind of glossed over this quick, but you already hit one stretch goal here. You had a magnet made, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you have another stretch goal with a poster available. If everybody hits 10,000, right? Yes,
and that's the Orina Rosa cover we'll do as a free poster for everyone who is a physical backer, and if you're digital, you get a high-res image of it that you can, use for your wallpaper or whatever.
That's awesome.
Go down to Kinko's and print it. I don't care.
Yeah, go print it there.
It's a cool image too.
Yeah, it's really cool.
As you can tell, I'm not precious about my stuff. If people I've joked at leaving my stuff out at a con when between nights, if somebody steals it all, I'm like, yeah, but if they go sell it, then that means a bunch of people are getting my stuff and it's getting out there to more people.
Somebody's gonna read it eventually, right?
That's ultimately what we should want as creators. Yes, I do want to make money. I want to be able to sell my books to make my books, which is the whole idea. But ultimately we want readers, and we want to build an audience. It's like I have a split audience of collectors and readers. I'd like to think everyone who buys my stuff reads it, but I'm not, I'm not that naive. I know when I use artists like Derek Chu and, John Jang and all these people who are very well-known artists, I know not all my books are being bought to be read, but that I'm okay with that because I buy books I don't read too because I think there's pretty pictures on them. So
Yeah, right.
but ultimately we want readers as well, more so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so obviously everybody go to the Kickstarter, and we will circle back around to that at the end here. But I wanted to bring up one more thing because I actually saw this as I was reading more about you, David. I didn't realize you did this book, and it sounds like the comic that Mike has always asked for. So let's talk a little bit about the book you did back in 2018 called The Couch.
My first comic ever, yes.
First comic
What
ever,
is this book for everybody
So
out there?
the Couch is about a down and out therapist who accidentally becomes a psychiatrist to superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
So we did one volume. It was 4 issues. It's there are superheroes in it, but we only hear about their antics. It's basically one is chasing a burglar and accidentally crashes into his office, his psychiatry office, and the non-superhero version of him comes back to fix the door, and they just start talking, and then he ends up basically having sessions with him.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's like you would hope that most of these, most vigilantes and superheroes are probably, like we talk about Batman being a sociopath, but they probably could use someone to talk to, right?
Yeah, because who do you talk to, right?
Right. And that's kind of really relevant today with the whole new Daredevil season, I would say, because that's how he's dating a therapist, right? So it's yeah, that's pretty relevant. That's awesome. So that was your first book? Is that something you'd ever go back to, you think, or it's kind of just like, yeah, I had this crazy idea and I got it done?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to. Ultimately, I mean, if you could see the spreadsheet I have with all the series I want to do, that's unfortunately again. I mean, I hate that it comes back to this. There's financial considerations.
Sure. Right.
That one was my first. It didn't sell great, but the people who read it did love it. And ultimately, I've thought about, throwing reskinning it and putting it back out. But then you also have the pressure of, if you put it back out and a bunch of people want it, then I'm going to feel very obligated to create more right away.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm already spread fairly thin with other series.
Stuff. Yeah.
So, and like I said, I hate that it's a consideration for all of us, because, I mean, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't buy a house. I would buy art for 15 comic series.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So it's awesome. Just one I would love to get back to that series. And I know I haven't done anything with Matt, the artist, in a while, but I'm sure he would love to get back to it too.
That's very cool.
And like Chris said, we're going to get back to the Kickstarter before we wrap up here today. Is there anything you want to say that we didn't really talk about Stake and the current campaign? And we're going to have about a week left as this comes out, but is there anything you want to touch on, before we wrap up today?
I mean, just if you're not familiar with the series, you should definitely check it out. Like we talked about, there is a link to number 1. You can go read it to see if you like it before you commit to 7 issues. There's also a fun, I don't know if you watched it, whiteboard recap. If you have read the first 6 issues, there's a little video where you can get caught up. Yeah, and those will be panels in the issue as well.
Oh, that's cool.
We did a 2-page spread that's like a catch up, and if knowing the character and the fact that she uses social media and stuff like that, I thought it was very apropos to have her do basically a whiteboard explainer of, hey, here's how we got here.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's an awesome idea.
It's a really great video if nobody's watched it.
Yeah, and it's really fun.
Are you taking this kind of by ear right now, or do you have a plan of like what the next, let's say, year looks like for Stake and your Kickstarter?
Basically, we will, as far as release dates, we'll be playing it by ear based on how quickly Francesca can do the art. and I can get it fulfilled, because I don't like to launch without having the previous one fulfilled. Just
Good
because
man.
I don't think it's fair to backers.
Yep.
The only time I've done it is I had done a canceled campaign right before the hospice, and I had committed to the hospice team to be out at a certain time. So I was pretty much fulfilling both of those at the same time. But otherwise, yeah, I would like to do that, where we can try to get another issue in this series out this year. And then I do have another one shot in the Stake universe that I will have somebody else draw, so I won't take Francesca away from this main series. So while she's drawing additional issues, I can actually continue to have Stake product coming out. And then I'm also working on a follow-up to the Skin Deep story, because that was fairly successful. And who doesn't like stories with people possessed by demons?
Oh yeah.
Especially
Wow.
when it's a stripper possessed by a demon.
Yeah, even better.
So you're spinning out your hospice story into its own kind of series?
Yeah. I mean,
Very cool.
When you were talking about it, you can see in my discussions of it now, I just call it Skin Deep.
Yeah.
But I always have to go back to where it came from,
Right.
because that was Travis's concept. It was fun. I wouldn't have written that story if Travis hadn't come to me with the concept. So it will always be rooted there.
Okay, that's
very cool.
Yeah, we gotta give Travis just a little credit, not too much. They'll go to his name.
Yeah, I don't like it, those head.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, you can edit that part out.
Yeah, we want. It's gonna just be muffled when we say his name. Awesome.
That would be hilarious if you just bleep out Travis's name.
David, man, thanks for stopping by again. Let's not wait 4 years for the next time.
I mean, as you know, I'm busy, so I'm horrible about even trying to book things like that.
Yeah, no, understandable. But yeah, it was great talking with you. If our viewers and listeners want to follow you and all the awesome stuff you're doing, where do we want to send them?
You can find me on pretty much every social media outlet as DAB282. And then my website is davidabyrne.com. And then the easiest way to get to the Kickstarter is just stakecomic.com. And that will actually take you any given time. If you go to that URL, it will take you to whatever the most current happenings with Stake are. So we redirect it every time something new is going on.
Cool. To everybody out there watching and or listening, as you know, go in the show notes down below, and I'll have the second easiest way to find the Kickstarter, which is links in the show notes down below, as well as links to David's website and all of his social media you can find down there as well. So, David, thanks so much for taking the time today, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you again, and we look forward to the next time.
Yes, thanks for having me, guys.